Bioethics versus the biggest bidder. Millions of Americans saw it as a window into their DNA and ancestry, but now attorneys general across the country are warning people to delete their personal data from 23andMe before it could be sold to a stranger. The genetic testing site is filed for bankruptcy, and there are concerns now about how all the DNA is collected and how it could be used by whoever buys the company. Joining me now, NYU bioethics professor Art Caplan. Art, good to see you again. So what's going to happen to my data?
Well, I would get it out of there and make the request here as fast as I could because when this company declared bankruptcy, the buyer who comes in doesn't have to honor any promises that the company made to you or anyone else who might have used the site that they're going to keep your information private. In fact, the value of the company was never in the fees that it got for figuring out whether you were Lithuanian or Albanian or Nigerian or whatever. It was getting your saliva, getting the DNA that you sent them, extracting the information out of that about disease risks and other propensities that you might have in your behavior, whatever, and reselling it. A little bit of bait and switch. I never really liked the way these companies have been operating, offering something cute, ancestry. But now we see we're in a bind because this one is bankrupt, I don't even know who's there to pull the data out.
So are you skeptical of all the genealogy websites?
I'm skeptical of all of them. I think that the value that they build is really in collecting data when you voluntarily and freely send it to them. You don't have many protections, federal, state, or otherwise, about what they do with it. They can say they're going to try and keep it confidential, but the police, uh, ICE, there are a lot of agencies that can and do go in and snoop around in their databases for various reasons, some legitimate, some dubious. And I don't think that overall, my attitude is you want to find out about your ancestry, go talk to your grandparents.
But what if you, okay, I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a minute because I do have other questions about the fact that this information could be sold off, Art. But I just think of even people within my family, even stories that I've done here on ABC, because of these companies. I mean, some kids have found long lost relatives, even in sort of bizarre fertility situations. I've interviewed folks who have found their biological parents. I mean, there's been all kinds of interesting stories that have come out of this as well. How, I mean, if your
In fact, I
cousins or
think you and I,
grandma aren't alive, how do you find out that information?
look, I think you and I have talked in the past even about situations where it turned out that somebody was a sperm donor that some child didn't realize, and it turned out to be the doctor who did the insemination, and they wouldn't have found out without these kinds of companies. Okay, but for every one of those stories, there's somebody who shows up and says, "I'm your brother. I need money. How about you give me some?" Or "I need college tuition," or whatever. There's some unhappy stories that go along with this as well, and I don't think the sites have ever counseled people to say, in addition to finding out maybe something about ancestry, and again, I'm a little dubious of the science there, you may find relatives contacting you that you didn't know, or you may find yourself in a database of suspects of committing a crime. They never counseled, they never really told you the downsides.
Yeah, no, you're right. And we've covered those too. And I think I've covered every single one of those stories with you, Art. The complex ones, the exciting ones, and then the ones where they still have folks kind of devastated by what they have found out. I always love having you on these stories. You're a bioethicist, an incredible professor, and I just love your input. Thanks, Art.
Much appreciated.